Welcome to Cousin Sal's Winning Weekend, the show that never has a rebuilding year. What a time to be a sports bettor, right? The NBA is back, college and pro football in full swing, the Yankees and Dodgers are in the World Series, and only 250 days until the next Nathan's hot dog eating contest. So close, I could taste the sodium. Speaking of the World Series, my Miracle Mets just missed out on making it. So here to cheer me up, we've got Doc Gooden on the show today. Yes, the former Cy Young winner and Mets Hall of Famer is going to give us his insight on this year's matchup. And more importantly, we're going to talk about the 86 championship, the GOAT Fall Classic. Yes, that's right. Then from Dr. K to PK, Darren the Parlay Kid Szokoli joins me to break down all the Week 8 games. And Cleveland Browns fans, I may have found a glimmer of hope for you in Wager Rager, so stay tuned for that. All coming up. But first, let's recap the Thursday night game between the Vikings and the Rams. All right, the Vikings take the ball to start things off. So greedy, and off they go. And here he is, the great Josh Oliver, wide open for a touchdown. Josh Oliver. I know I sound like a broken record with this guy. Mini up 7-zip. Stafford answers. Kyron Williams, yes, I bet him to score the first touchdown by the Rams. I meant the Rams' first touchdown, I didn't? Oh, whatever. Darnold back down the field, and it's Trent Sherfield Sr. Wow, Vikes busting out all the big guns tonight. 14-7, here come the Rams, and yes, Cooper Kupp is alive and well. 14-14 is a good one. We go to the break tied. Second half now. Wouldn't be a game without Justin Jefferson pulling off another athletic miracle. Leads to a Vikes field goal. Back come the SoFi Soldiers. Stafford to Marcus Robinson. Touchdown. Flags on the defense. Don't worry about it. We'll keep going. Purple People Eaters add a field goal, and then a 10-play drive leads to another Stafford to Robinson touchdown. That paid 75-1. Don't you dare pretend you had it. Vikings, one last chance. Darnold in trouble. He gets dragged down ferociously by the face mask. Refs ain't calling that nonsense. They want to go home. 30-20. Rams cover and win over 46.5 cashes. All right, hopefully everyone who went to SoFi fought through the traffic and made it home in time to watch this. Let's keep things going. It's time now for what I deem our most dangerous segment. It could very well lead to a paper cut because producer Babyface Joel Solomon is about to throw a crumpled up piece of paper with a thought written on it, and I'm going to catch it, I'm going to read it, and then I'm going to tell you what I think. We call this Tossing Topics. Underhand. Look at that. That really was underhand. Rodgers' nose job. Oh, yeah. It looks like the Jets quarterback is involved in yet another conspiracy. Did you see this on Sunday night? Now, the box score showed Aaron had 2 picks, but thanks to the internet, we noticed a third. Yes, stat correction. He was caught on the sideline eating his own boogers. Oh. Not just picking, eating too. And I know Aaron's all about doing his own research, but this is taking it too far, isn't it? This would have never happened during the Robert Saleh regime. I mean, say what you want about Zach Wilson. That guy was picking moms out of the crowd, not picking his nose. But there is some good news headed for Gotham's favorite snot swallower. FanDuel has him as the odds-on favorite to win Booger Eater of the Year. Enjoy that boogie. It's not like you're tasting victory this season. All right, Babyface, throw me another one. Pretty good. Oh, Bronny, Rookie of the Year. Yeah. So earlier this week, Bronny James made his NBA debut. It was a really cool moment as father and son entered the game together for the highly anticipated photo op. And despite Bronny scoring 0 points in a shade under 3 minutes that game, people are still pouring money on him to win Rookie of the Year. Still. I don't understand. I'm sorry, but if you're actually wagering on this, you should be forced to have a 1-800 number tattooed on your forehead. LeBron, his dad, who's entering like his 40th season in the NBA, has a better chance of winning Rookie of the Year. And here's how it works. You're not allowed to complain about high gas prices or eggs or the cost of resort fees or paying for Wi-Fi on planes if at the same time you're dropping hard-earned dough on Bronny James to win Rookie of the Year, because it doesn't have a prayer in hell of winning. And just to make sure, I look back at the rules, and you cannot, in fact, win this award if you spend the season sitting on the bench playing Call of Duty. All right, Babyface. One more. That did come in quick. Flavor Flav rocks. Oh, man. More Cleveland misery. You know, before every home game, a former Browns player or celebrity is named the dog pound captain and is tasked to smash a guitar in an effort to fire up the crowd because, well, they figured donating the guitars to a school is lame. Anyway, last week, Flavor Flav gave it a try, emphasis on try, because despite multiple failed attempts, it never broke. I had no idea the Cleveland curse extended to 80s celebrities. That guitar became his own public enemy. Holy hell, Flav, look at your own giant clock. This has gone on for like 20 minutes. He would have done a better job being the Browns' emergency quarterback. And to make matters worse, moments later, the Bengals ran back the opening kick for a touchdown. And that's why you can't have a Viking pretend to be a Brown. But it was kind of nice. After the game, Browns backup Jameis Winston defended Flavor Flav.
I will never pull on a man when he's down, but I will be the person to lift him up.
What's that? Oh, that wasn't about Flavor Flav. All right. Well, anyway, Browns fans, enjoy it. That was still way more entertaining than your team playing football. All right, that does it for tossing topics. Now, it's time for my irrationally angry attempt to make rational sense of a somewhat irrational bet. It's Wager Rager. Hey, congrats to me. I've hit 2 of these in a row now. Last week, I took C.J. Stroud under 2 touchdown passes. He only had 1. One's less than 2. Let's try to make it 3 in a row. Cleveland has gone over their point total so far 0 times. And I'm saying that streak ends this week. Yes, Jameis is finally starting, better late than never, and the Browns showed some fight last week. I think this is a little bit of a letdown on a short week for the Ravens. The Ravens, by the way, a team that allowed 84 fourth quarter points. Garbage points galore Sunday. Give me the Browns over 16.5 points this week. Besides, it can't get much worse for Cleveland, unless, of course, the river sets fire again. Cleveland rocks! All right, maybe not. And now, let's get to my interview with a childhood hero of mine, Dwight Gooden. Let's bring in our guest. He's a Cy Young Award winner, a World Series champion with both the New York Mets and, I guess, the Yankees. That kills me. And I'll say this. Growing up, he was the only doctor I ever looked forward to seeing. Dr. K himself, Dwight Gooden. What's happening, Dwight?
Hey, how you doing, buddy? Thanks for having me. Everything is well.
It's great to have you here. First of all, I want to congratulate you. Back in April, you were finally inducted into the New York Mets Hall of Fame. Your number 16 was retired. I want to ask you, how much did that moment mean for you, and what the hell took the Mets so long?
The thing is, everything's timing, but it meant a great deal to me because I didn't never think that it would possibly happen because of the off-the-field stuff. But on the field, I thought I deserved it. And I can't thank Steve and Alex Cohen enough. Every time I see him, I thank them for that. And when I got the call, the first call I wanted to make was to my father, but he's no longer here. But I got to share that moment with my kids and grandkids and have them up for that day with my friends and family. It was just a great, great, unsurreal moment.
That's terrific. I'm glad they did that for you finally. And you got to throw out the first pitch that day. Did you want to try to put a little extra mustard on it that day, or you were just like, I got to get it over the plate?
That was all I had. The older you get, the further the mound gets.
How fast do you think you're throwing now? Like if you really had to rear back and go?
Well, I'll tell you this. About 4 years ago, I was at Mets fantasy camp, and I was pitching like the last day of the camp. The former players playing against the campers, so I was pitching. I'm feeling pretty good about myself. So I asked the scorekeeper, I said, put the velocity on the scoreboard. And it was 65. I said, either turn it up or take it off.
You got speed limit. All right. That's good enough. Yeah. And then last week before game 3 of the NLCS, Darryl Strawberry threw out the first pitch to you. You're doing a lot of pitching and catching lately. You know, I had the privilege to throw out the first pitch about half a dozen years ago. It was part of the Mets Make-A-Wish program. But we have footage for you. I'd love for you to critique me, unless it's going to be negative, in which case I'd like you to keep your thoughts to yourself. But all right, here we go. All right, I'm wearing the Jesse Orosco. I'm left-handed. Got the glove.
So far, so good.
Yep. Huh. And then the celebration. Yeah. Does that celebration remind you of anything?
Oh, definitely. I think you did a great job.
Yeah. I mean, good.
I love it.
Good. Thank you.
Had a
All
good
right.
time as well.
It was a terrific time. I can't believe I just stopped jumping, actually. You know, we see athletes and celebrities, you know, from other sports and whatever, throw out opening pitches, and they're so terrible. Why is this? Why are they so they can't hit the plate?
I can never understand that, because you would think somewhere along the line, whether it was Little League or high school or, you know, whatever, they'd have had a chance to play baseball and at least play catch, because that's all it is. For the mound, you can throw in front of the mound to the plate. But it's really embarrassing, especially with the rappers. I mean, I don't understand it, because, you know, most of them, they pretend they're athletes, but when they get on the mound, I don't know if they get nervous or what happens, but it's been terrible so far.
Did you used to talk to? I mean, I feel like it's more prominent since you retired. But would you laugh with the other players? Like, watch this. This is going to go 40 feet to the left or something. Like, I know you were already retired by 50 Cent. I assume that's who you're referring to with the rappers. What were you rooting against a lot of these people sometimes?
No, I'm fans of most of them, and then I know when they're out there, it's a lot of pressure because they're out of their comfort zone. But
Right.
50 Cent was horrible. I wish I could have worked with him. Stephen A. I love Stephen A. and he bounced it. So but a lot of those guys, like I tell you what, I played with Nelly in a softball game in Minnesota at the All-Star game, and that guy is a real good athlete.
Yeah.
I never seen him throw the first pitch, but he can feel. And I heard he had a trial with the Cardinals, but he had a couple home runs. He's a true athlete. Some of the rappers are good athletes, but most of them, I don't know.
So, yeah, they should stay in the studio, a lot of them. All right. We lost Fernando Valenzuela the other day, legendary Dodgers pitcher. And I was thinking about it. He was the baseball phenomenon, at least the pitching phenomenon, right before you. I think it was him. And then he was 81. You came up in 84. Do you remember back then drawing off of his success? Was there anything you took from his early dominance?
Oh, most definitely. I remember they had the Fernando Mania. And 84, when I got to meet Fernando, it was a dream come true. And then I pitched against him a couple of times. And even though they say you're pitching against the opposing team, not the pitcher, but when you're facing a guy like Fernando, it's definitely personal because that was my childhood idol, one of them. And so now I'm getting to face him after seeing him, 2 years prior to that being in high school. It was definitely a treat for myself. Yeah,
the pressure's on. And I remember, and I think you cite this as one of your greatest games back in 85, right? You pitched against Fernando. It was a 13-inning game. You went 9. He went 11. I mean, you were and you was right in the thick of a pennant chase, right, against the Cardinals.
Yes. At that time, anytime I faced Fernando, it was always a battle. And the thing was, correct me if I'm wrong, but mostly I gave him maybe 3 or 4 hits, and he probably gave 3 or 4 hits, but I always got 2 off of him, and he got 2 off of me. So it was definitely a battle all the way around.
Wow, that's great. What a story. One of the great duels of all time. Now I was fortunate enough to be a producer on the Once Upon a Time in Queens documentary, which you were featured in, of course, that highlighted the 1986 team. Did you watch it? Be honest. It's okay. You could hurt my feelings. Did you watch that documentary? 4-parter?
Oh, I definitely watched it, and it was great. You guys did an outstanding job. I really loved it, and I still have the tapes. Every now and then, my grandkids come up, during the summer, especially my grandson who caught the first pitch when I retired my number. He loves watching the old videotapes.
There's that iconic picture of you, Darryl, and Mike Tyson. You have boxing gloves on, and you're wearing Met gear. I honestly feel Mike Tyson would have made a great teammate for that 86 team with all the brawls. I think you guys got him 4 brawls that year. What do you think?
Oh, most definitely. He probably would have been a substitute on the team. I remember when he came out to take batting practice, he came with an entourage and Don King. I can't recall him at least fouling 1 ball off. He might have took 20 swings. And then afterwards for the photo shoot, he was telling me, like, at that time, I never heard of Mike, right? And so he said, I'm Mike Tyson. Want to be next champion of the world. And under my breath, I was like, yeah, right. Who is this kid? And about 4 or 5 months later, he knocked out, was it Tucker?
Trevor Burbick. I think it was Trevor Burbick. Yeah.
I think the rest was history. And we've been friends ever since.
Yeah. Wow. I wonder, that would have been interesting to see him throw out a first pitch because no matter what, you would have had to told him it looked great. Like, nice job, Mike. A lot like you did for me a few minutes ago. Yeah.
No doubt about it. Whatever he does is great. Without a doubt. He's actually a great guy. He's very quiet, but believe it or not, he's a very smart guy.
Oh, I believe it. Yeah, we've talked before, and let's just hope he uses that wisdom to beat Jake Paul next month. All right, Dwight, we're going to take a break. There's a doctor in the house, everyone. We'll be right back with Dwight Gooden. All right, welcome back to Cousin Sal's Winning Weekend. We're here with New York Mets Hall of Famer Dwight Gooden. Dwight, I quickly want to ask you about this past Mets season. I would have loved for them to have beaten the Dodgers, but as it is, they surpassed so many expectations. Did you enjoy watching this team and the heroics down the stretch?
Well, it was a lot of fun. I got caught up in it just being a fan, enjoying the excitement. The team had a lot of wisdom, and Carlos Mendoza did a super, super job, starting with the front office, Stephen Alex and David Stern, and on down with the coaches and all that. And the players just and I'll tell you this, at the beginning of the season, I'll be the first to admit, it's just my opinion. I think they was playing to try not to lose. But as the season went on, they was playing with the confidence that we're not going to lose. And I think that was a big difference I've seen them. They had a lot of confidence, and one guy didn't do it, and the next guy did it. And actually, when they lost, it was very, very downward. I was looking forward to it. Like every day they play, you want more. You want more.
Who do you think deserves more credit for their success? The Hawk Tua girl or Grimace?
Huh. I'm going Grimace.
Okay.
And the thing was, the first day he was at the ballpark, I forget the guy name that was bringing him out. And I was with Matt Blitz, a good friend of mine. I don't know if you know Matt or not. We was coming out, he said, "Doc, you want to get a picture with Grimace?" And at the time, I was like, "Who the hell is that?" You know? But as we went on, he was a good piece. So I'm going to give him the credit.
Do you think the Mets should bring back Pete Alonso, or is there another free agent you think they should go after? I mean, Juan Soto, it's reported that he's going to earn more than Ohtani, all said and done.
He might. I mean, he's a young guy, very consistent. I would not be surprised if some team handed him whatever he wants. I would like to see Pete finish his career with the Mets. But my honest opinion, like with Scott Boras, I love Scott Boras. I know him personally. Normally his clients go for the highest bidder. And unfortunately, it's like waiting to see, but I would be heartbroken if Pete went somewhere else. It'd be kind of like when Darryl had left to go to the Dodgers. I cried for like 4 or 5 hours. I just couldn't believe it. I was in denial. But Pete, I love Pete. He's a Tampa guy. I got to know when he first came up. Just a super, super nice guy. So hopefully they can work something out and keep Pete in uniform.
That bums me out a little because I think what you're saying is there's not going to be a ton of New York loyalty maybe with Scott Boras involved. If it's going to be a high bidder wins kind of thing. And of course, that's kind of what it is in the free market, right?
Yes, it is. And I think Pete's a great guy. I mean, I just want him to do whatever makes him and his family happy.
Yeah.
Hopefully that's being in New York. But you know, we'll see. Let's see how it turns out.
Yeah, I want him to do what makes me happy. I'm that you might call that selfish, but that's just how I feel. All right, let's talk about this World Series. Major League Baseball got their wish, right? Yankees, Dodgers, loaded with stars, 5 MVPs, including the 2 for this year. It's got to be Judge and Ohtani on either side. What do you think are the keys to this series?
I think the key to the series is pitching. It always comes down to pitching. Hopefully, obviously, I'm going for the Yankees. It's no way possible. No way possible. I hope the Dodgers end up beating both the New York teams. I could not live with that. And but it's going to come down to the starting pitchers and taking an inning at a time, winning an inning at a time, and keeping the big guys off base. And you know, one thing about Ohtani, I didn't see the Mets do it too much, and nothing at all personally, but they got to make him uncomfortable. What I mean by that is make him move his feet. You don't have to hit him anything, but make him uncomfortable. He's way too comfortable, and I don't mean that from a personal standpoint. I just mean that from a starting pitcher.
So you pitch him high and tight. If Dwight Gooden's pitching against Ohtani, game 1, that's it. Back him off the plate a little bit.
Oh, definitely. Every other pitch or every other bat, and it's nothing personal about it at all. It's just trying to win the game, and you know it's a mental game. So you got to make him uncomfortable. The same thing with bats. They top hitters make them move their feet, not to hinder anybody, but that's what you have to do.
What do you think he would have to do, Ohtani, to become the greatest player in baseball history in your eyes, or is he already there?
Well, I think he's pretty close. I think if he can go, let me see, if he can have a year, because next year is by pitching, right? Okay, just say it don't have to be next year, but if you have a year where he wins 18 to 20 games, because it's hard to win 20 now because guys only going 5 innings, and maybe hit 30 home runs the same year.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I think maybe even less than that. I think if he hit like 15 wins and 35 or 40 home runs for the next 5 years or so, then you're really adding up these numbers. You had 8 career home runs. Maybe you just needed to focus more on hitting, right?
Well, high school, I hit 15 home runs and I had 17 wins.
Wow.
Yeah.
I could see why they drafted you. Now I finally see it. All right, listen, Dwight, I'm going to put you on the spot. 7-game series, 86 Mets or the 96 Yankees?
86 Mets.
Okay, good. Okay. I was so worried. I was going to take that wall and throw it into the street if you didn't answer correctly. All right.
But the thing is, I would say the Yankees probably had more talent, but we had heart. We had a heart, and we refused to lose, and we believed in each other.
I like
That's
that.
no disrespect to the Yankees.
No, you can disrespect him if you want. It's fine. It's fine here. All right, Doc, before you go, I've got one last question for you. We call this Cousins Conundrum.
Cousins Conundrum.
Here we go. You're affectionately known for the last 40 or plus years as Dr. K, and here's the conundrum. Let's say you go on and become an actual doctor, and you develop the cure for baldness, and you make millions and millions. You're rich beyond your wildest imagination. But for the rest of your life, anyone who comes in contact with you hands you a carrot and says, "What's up, Doc?" And you have to take a bite of that carrot. Are you taking that deal? Cure baldness?
Yes, sir.
Multi-millionaire?
Yeah, I'll take it.
You're taking it. Really?
Yeah, I love carrots anyway.
You better. Everybody you meet, you're gonna have to. Maybe if you hide in that great room, you wouldn't have to worry so much about it. But okay.
If you're ever in Long Island, feel free to come by.
I would love to come by, and you know what? I'll bring you endless carrots, and we'll discuss this cure to baldness. I'd love the answer. Doc, you have a movie coming out. I assume you're a Marvel superhero or something. Tell us about this.
I don't know. It's about my life story. You know, in '97 after the no-hitter, I met with Warner Brothers, me and Randy Grown, and they bought the rights at the time, and we talked with Denzel, who was going to play it. But about 6 months later, it just kind of went away, and I never heard from him. And then this came about again 2 years ago, and just talking about him. And it's just something that I always wanted to put out there. It's a good group of guys, and just to tell my life story, the good, the bad, the in between, and how things, justified. And I think it'd be a great, great movie and a lesson to be learned for the younger generation.
I love it. And do you know who's playing you? Is it like a Tom Hanks type?
Not yet. We're talking to a couple of guys, but we'll see. I think Denzel might be a little too older right now.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, you need a Michael B. Jordan or something, like a younger version of
we
Denzel.
talked to him.
That was awesome. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks, everybody. I appreciate you.
You got it. Enjoy the World Series. We're going to be right back to break down all the Week 8 NFL games with the Parlay Kid. That's next on Cousin Sal's Winning Weekend. All right, welcome back to Cousin Sal's Winning Weekend. We have reached Week 8 of the NFL season. Here to help us break down all the games. He is a fully grown adult, but we still call him the Parlay Kid, my pal Darren Szokoli. What's happening, Darren?
What's going on, Sal? Thanks for having me.
Good to have you. It was good to have Dwight Gooden on just before, and I did ask him, Darren, in a 7-game series, the 1986 Mets or your 96 Yankees, who wins? What do you say? I'll tell you what he said. Let me ask you what you think.
Well, Sal, you know what I'm going to say. I'm going to say the 96 Yankees, and I'm sure Doc said the 86 Mets. That's just my guess.
That's right. That's exactly right. You said the Yankees and he said the Mets. That is the guess. But, I prefer to keep it honest on this show. So if you want to tell us your real thoughts later, that's fine. But listen, let's get into this Week 8 slate. And we start in Miami as Tua returns, we think, to the Dolphins to take on the Cardinals. The line would suggest that he is back. 3.5 the Dolphins are favored by at home over the Arizona Cardinals. 46.5 is the over-under. Either way, playing or not, I like this under. If he plays, I think there's going to be a lot of underneath stuff, a lot of feeling things out against the Cardinals defense, who, for as bad as they've been, somehow are in the top 10 in scoring defense in the red zone, defending the red zone. So Kyler and that offense could also be lethargic on a short week and then cross-country early game. Lots of field goals. Arizona 30th and Miami 31st in points per play. Interesting. The under hit in 7 of the Dolphins' last 8 games. I think 46.5 is too high. Maybe by a lot. I'm going to say 21-17 final. What do you like?
Sal, I'm with you on that. I'm taking the first half under 23.5 points, basically for the exact same reasons you just gave. I'll just reiterate them real quickly. Tua's back. Dolphins will pound the ball with the run, short passes all day long. They cannot afford to have him take too many hits or any hits at all in the pocket. He'll be a little rusty too, so it's going to take him at least a half to find any type of rhythm. And the Cardinals, west to east, 1 o'clock game, short week, little sluggish to start. Take the first half under, Sal.
All right. Couple of explosive players there in Harrison and, of course, Tyreek Hill. It might be a little scary, but I do like it under. You like it under in the first half. Let's move on to, the Jets and the Dolphins. Jets are a 7-point favorite At New England, 41.5 is the over-under. This is a rematch of the 24-3 Thursday night football shellacking the Jets handed the Pats. Remember, everyone thought the Jets were back. Everything was great, and then they fired the coach, and Rodgers ate his own boogers, and here they are at 2-5, and the Pats, and even worse, 1-6. And maybe I'm nuts, but I think this is a good spot for New England. I'm taking the 7 points. Drake May looked decent, if not better, in his first 2 starts. The Jets have a little more star power, but listen, the team's a mess. Think of it this way. They have scored, the Jets, in 7 weeks, 2 more points than they did in 2023. Yeah. So would you take the Jets -7 at New England, last year's version of the Jets? Of course you wouldn't. That's why I'm going 24-3, in the back, rearview mirror. I'm going to take New England +7. The coach called them soft. I think they react. They step up here. Let's take New England not only getting the points, they pull off the upset, Parlay Kid, 20-19 Patriots.
Well, I won't go that far, Sal, with the upset here. I think the Jets do win this game, but I'll take the Pats and the points. Exactly what you just said, too. Coach called them out, called them soft. I expect them to come out with an edge. Drake May has impressed me so far. He's obviously impressed you as well. The Jets' defense is banged up, Sal. I think maybe Hassan Reddick is back, maybe playing for them this week, but he'll have a lot of rust to him. He'll be a little bit out of shape. Jets win, but the Pats hang around and cover this number.
All right, moving on. Cincinnati, a 2.5-point favorite at home against Philadelphia. This is on paper. This is a fun one in the beginning of the season for sure. It's 4-2 team versus a 3-4 team. Another weird year for the Bengals. Not weird in that they started off slow. That seems to happen every year. But they barely scraped by against the Giants and the Browns in recent weeks. Eagles didn't look so hot against the Browns either a couple weeks ago, but then pounded the Giants in the Barkley homecoming game. I think they're hitting their stride. I have to take a teaser every week, so here it goes. I'm seeing that line at 2.5. I'm going to jump it to 8.5. I'm going to go over 41.5. The Bengals 27th in red zone defense. Eagles like to pound low with Barkley and the tush push. Defensively, it could be a long pass given up to Chase because we see that all the time. With Jamar, 24-20. Who wins? Who cares? I have the +8.5, and I have the over. What do you like?
Yeah, I'm staying away from the game here, so I'm taking one of my favorite props.
Stop
the quarterback.
Stop it.
Joe Burrow, over 1.5 touchdown passes. Sal, I love this one. Oh, boy. I fell in love with it when I used to hit it all the time. Boy, I haven't hit it too much lately. But Burrow has gone over the 1.5, 5 out of his last 6. He averages 2 touchdown passes a game. And Sal, he has a fully healthy receiving core, which is quite dynamic. Take Burrow and the over 1.5 touchdown passes.
All right, I wish you luck. You traded him to Harry, though. Didn't you trade Burrow in our fantasy league?
Him. Sent him on the way for the next guy we're going to talk about here.
Okay, good. So if he has 0 touchdown passes, we can laugh about that, too.
Yes.
All right, Green Bay, 4.5-point favorite. 49.5 is the over-under at Jacksonville. This is a weird game. Green Bay is better, maybe much better, but I just don't trust it. I'm going to go with a prop. Michael Thomas Jr. Don't go the senior. FanDuel offers senior. Run away from it. But I'm going over 4.5 receptions. This guy's been the one bright spot for this team and this offense for sure. Less than halfway through the season, he's got 30 grabs, 513 yards, and 4 touchdowns. I'm going to take his reception prop, like I said, over 4.5. He's had 5 or more in 4 of his last 5 games. Green Bay's the middle of the pack. No pun intended, in terms of pass defense. They've allowed a receiver to have 5 catches or more in all but 1 game. Give me the LSU product to have a big Sunday. That's right, Brian Thomas Jr. over 4.5 receptions. What do you like?
Yeah, I like what you're saying there, Sal, but I'm going to take the Packers here minus the 4.5. Is this a possible trap game for the Packers with the Lions next week? Maybe, but I don't think Coach LaFleur will let them sleep on this team at all. I think they put up a lot of points and complete their sweep of the AFC South.
All right. Wow. It's at that point already, huh? All right. So now we go to the NFC South. Hate this game. Atlanta minus 2.5, 45.5 at Tampa Bay. This started my Thursday night football tailspin, Parlay Kid. I had the Bucks, and I don't know how they blew that Thursday night game. Atlanta won in overtime. Cousins went for 500-plus passing yards. It was a ridiculous game. Anyway, I'm going back to an old favorite. I used to do this in college. I can't remember. I'm still here. I went into debt. But when the first matchup goes over, second matchup goes under. I remember it being about 52%. I haven't checked up on it in a while. But aside from my asinine theory, Bucks 8-4 to the under in the last 12 games. That's why I like it. And I'm not going to try to get into Todd Bowles' head, but I think he tries to shorten this game, knowing that his best two receivers are out. We're going to see a lot of Rachaad White. We're going to see a lot of Buck the Duck. On the other side, I think Cousins cools off a little from that first matchup. No 500 yards. We may have seen the real Falcons against Seattle last week. Give me 22-17 final. I'm going to go under. If you want to win with Atlanta, go right ahead, but that's the final score.
Yeah, that sounds like one of Harry's theories, Sal. So good luck with that. I'm going to be taking the Falcons here, Sal, given the points. They're 2-0 against the spread and straight up on the road. Cousins won't duplicate that performance he had last time. I mean, who could? But he won't have to this time around against Tampa. They're on short rest. And, Sal, you're missing Evans and Godwin. That's too much for this team to overcome in a short period of time. Take Atlanta minus the 2.5.
Poor Bucks. I really thought they were the best in the division. Now it's really falling into Atlanta's lap here. All right, Baltimore, 8.5 point favorite, and 44.5 is the total at Cleveland. This game is weird. I guess I keep waiting for the Ravens to stumble, but that's probably not going to happen. And we haven't seen enough of Jameis to know if, we see his weekly pep talks every so often, every Sunday. But I don't know if he's serviceable. I think already he's better than Watson, but we'll see. Anyway, I'm taking Derrick Henry. This is an interesting prop, not a rushing prop, but over 3.5 receiving yards. Those are too high. I'm going 3.5 receiving yards. 6 of the last 7 games, the leading tailback has gone 3.5 receiving yards or over, 4 or more. Henry himself has done this in 5 of his last 6. It only takes 1, and I like this prop. Browns, like I said, 6 of the last 7 games, the leading tailback's gone 4 yards or more. Give me Henry over 3.5. You have a player prop as well.
Yeah, I like that one. So I was considering Henry, I think, caught like a 20-something yard touchdown pass last week. So that's a good one. So I'm taking Njoku over 4.5 receptions here. Sal, without Cooper, he's obviously the number 1 target for the Browns. And the one game without Cooper, last game, 14 targets, 10 receptions. And let's face it, with Winston now at the helm, I think maybe they have a better chance of scoring some points and throwing the ball here for them. So the Browns are going to have to keep up with this Ravens offense. They're going to have to take to the air probably early in this game to try to match them point for point. And Njoku over 4.5 receptions.
I like that. Like that a lot. All right, Houston home for Indianapolis. Houston's a 5.5 point favorite. 45.5 is the over/under. I'm about to go on a mini run with heavy favorites here. This is a Week 1 rematch. It was 29-27 Texans in Indianapolis. Since then, Flacco got the Colts a couple of wins. Richardson came back. He's a friend of the dear friend of the show. Didn't exactly light it up, but got the job done, and the Colts won. And now the Colts could be in first place alone with a win on the road here. I don't think that happens. In fact, I think Houston separates themselves from the pack this week. The head-to-head trends favor Indianapolis, but the Colts 31st against the rush, and the Texans are 6-1 when they run for 120 or more yards. We already got a taste of that. Mixon had 159 on the ground the first time they played. Texans rebound after a loss to Green Bay, 30-14 final. What do you have?
So I'm with you here. I'm taking the Texans minus the 5.5. So this game quite simply comes down to the quarterback position for me. And even though I know Anthony is a friend of the podcast, Sal, look, his metrics, and I think he's dynamic. I think he's super dynamic. But his metrics at this point of his career put him behind guys like Deshaun Watson as a quarterback. He's completed 48% of his passes, has twice as many interceptions as touchdown passes. The Texans have played a lot of close ones. I don't think this is going to be one of them. Take the Texans here, given the points.
All right, last early afternoon game, Detroit 11.5 point favorite. This has gone up. 44.5 is the over/under. They have Tennessee. They're hosting the Titans. I enjoy betting against the Titans. I think they're kind of stuck at the 14, 15 point mark. They're not going to do much better unless it's against a lousy defense, and this isn't a lousy defense. Lions and Jared Goff, now my MVP pick, have averaged 40 points over the last 3 weeks. He's like 80% passing over the last month. That offense is humming. Even 30 should be enough to cover this spread. Give me Dan Campbell's Roaring Lions to win by 12 or more. Parlay Kid, you are going to have this on every 3-team teaser combination you can get your filthy hands on.
You know it, Sal. Moneyline Parlay teaser. They're all over my betting sheets here. Sal, the Lions have so much more offensive talent than the Titans. Goff is 76 out of 91 in his last 91 passes. 76 for 91 over his last 5 games, 9 TDs, 1 interception. They have a terrific running back duo. This Titans D is actually like a top 5 unit, but they cannot make up for their inept offense, Sal. And the Lions offense is still too good for that defense. Lions cover this big number, Sal. They do it rather convincingly.
I love it. All right, listen, we have to take a quick break. I'm being told that New York is calling for a replay of some of Parlay Kid's picks. But when we get back, we're going to break down the rest of the Week 8 slate, including our Cowboys Parlay Kid taking on the 49ers. That's all next on Cousin Sal's Winning Weekend. All right, welcome back to Cousin Sal's Winning Weekend, here with my pal and member of the D3 from the Against All Odds podcast, Darren the Parlay Kid. Let's keep it going with the Week 8 NFL slate. The Saints started the season. They won 2 straight. The offense looked like the March Rams against the Cowboys and the Panthers. I'm not even sure which is better of the 2 teams. But since then, they've lost 5 in a row. Derek Carr got hurt. Spencer Rattler is now the quarterback. They are traveling cross-country to take on the Chargers. Parlay Kid, 7.5. Home team's favored. 40.5 is the over-under. I'm going to go under 40.5. That was a snooze fest on Monday between the Chargers and the Cardinals. It may actually have home field advantage here, but I'm not going to bother with the side. I'm taking the under. I think it's Rattler again. That was an adventure. They have no receivers. Kamara is banged up, and the Chargers live to kick field goals. 19-10. You're going to see a lot of Dicker the kicker. 19-10 Chargers. It goes under. What do you like?
So I'm taking an adjusted line here. Chargers minus 6.5 at minus 130. The Chargers are the number 1 scoring defense in the NFL, giving up under 14 points per game. They have to do a better job at converting in the red zone. Enough of the field goal, score 1 or 2 touchdowns here. Instead, the home field and the QB alone are worth the 6.5 here, Sal. Take the Chargers on this adjusted line of minus 6.5.
All right, this game is much better than the one we just went over. Buffalo, at least on paper, minus 3 and 47.5 at Seattle. It's a fun one. Buffalo in complete control of the AFC East. Seattle battling to stay atop the NFC West. I could see this going a number of ways. The Bills, I don't think need it as much. But either way, I'm taking a player prop. Josh Allen, I'm riding the train. No interceptions, minus 120. He has done an incredible job playing pick-free football. 9 games in a row, Parlay Kid. And before that, he had 12 of 13 where he had thrown an interception. So I think the streak continues. He makes it 10. Seattle, only 4 interceptions all year. That's bottom 3. Josh Allen, no picks, minus 120. What do you like?
So I'm taking a 6-point teaser here in this game. I'm going to make the Seattle plus 9 and over 41.5. These are 2 high-scoring offenses. Seattle averages 26 points per game. The Bills average 28.5 points a game. 2 very well-balanced offenses. Seattle getting 9 at home is a very good number for a solid team. I like this teaser, Sal. They used to call me the teaser kid before the parlay kid. So here I'm back at it.
What a mess. You had to go to the DMV. You had to get everything changed. It was, I remember your wife yelling at you. It was a big to-do. All right, Chicago at Washington. The Bears are a 2.5-point favorite and 43.5. Now, Jaden Daniels is going to practice today, and then they're going to see what's going on with that rib injury. But the line would suggest that he is not playing. FanDuel knows more than everybody else. The league fell in love with this game. They flexed it to late afternoon, not quite night. They're like, okay, this is good. You're almost pretty enough to play at night. But anyway, you might be down a quarterback now. I'm going to go Chicago minus 2.5. I just, they've won some weird ones. They beat Levis, they beat Dalton, and now Mariota probably. But I'm going to give them some love. Caleb, 7 touchdowns, 1 interception in the last 3 games. They're keeping it together. Their defense is the 5th best in the league. 2nd fewest touchdowns allowed, 10. Bears 5-2 against the spread on extended rest under Eberflus. 24-16. Chicago takes it. You like the other side, Parlay Kid.
Yes, I love Washington here. So the Bears have scored a total of 29 points in their 2 road games. And I think Mariota did such a fine job replacing Daniels. There's no rush for the Commanders to get Daniels back. Mariota, really, they don't have to change the playbook for him. He looked like a version of Daniels out there. Not as fast, but very solid. Love Washington in this game, Sal. Getting the points at home. Love it.
All right, Denver, this line has flown up. Minus 10.5, 41.5, home against Carolina. Denver 4-3 with a win. They get to 5-3, and they're a half game under their projected win total back in August of 5.5. I'm not quite a believer. Instead, I believe in the Carolina Panthers. That's how stupid I am. This is the second straight week I'm taking a bad NFC South team against Denver. Extended rest, better team against the now backup Bryce Young. What am I doing? Denver, though, only averages 18. This is a big number for Denver. This is what I'm basing it on. They only average 18 points a game in their 3 games at Mile High. It's not a lot. I think, for goodness sake, Bryce Young can manage a backdoor cover here. I'm going to take 23-16. Give me the 10.5.
Well, that's why the teaser kid here, Sal, is putting this into 6 points here, getting Denver down to -4.5 and taking the under 47.5 points with it. Denver is the 3rd best defense in scoring defense, and they're 2nd in the league in sacks. What a way for Bryce Young to come back into the starting lineup. It is not going to be fun for him. Nix is starting to find his game, used his legs very well in the last contest. The Panthers are downright bad on both sides of the ball. Take this teaser, Sal.
Another 3-team teaser. You're going to put this in. I know for these purposes, you just want a 2-teamer. But all right, and here's maybe another one. Kansas City, 9.5-point favorite at Vegas. 41.5 is the over-under. This line is way jacked up, but the Chiefs have revenge on their minds from that Christmas Day massacre. We were at this game, actually, though, Parlay Kid, a couple years ago, right? We saw the Chiefs play in Las Vegas. Lots of Chiefs fans. Imagine it'll be a similar thing here. I think the very thin Raiders with a lackluster offense, and now you got Gardner Minshew's, like 5th go-around? I'm not buying it. But I'm going to take a prop here. I'm going Patrick Mahomes. This is becoming one of my favorite props. Over 4.5 rush attempts, -140. I took it last week and I won. I don't have to bet new things every week. Springsteen sing Born to Run every concert. This is what I'm going to do. Attempts, Parlay Kid, are better than yards in my estimation, because you could kneel down at the end of the game and lose anywhere from 2 to 20 yards.
Smart.
You don't have to do that in this case. In fact, the rushing attempts bet is your friend with the kneel downs. You get a few more, or the kneel downs are your friend. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about. He's gone 5 or more in the last 4. He had 10 carries against the Raiders on Christmas last year. I know it's -140, but I love it. Get me that Mahomes over rush attempts.
Sal, it's a great one, Sal. I'm going to be taking the Chiefs here minus the 9.5. I can't pick against them. I just can't do it anymore, Sal. This Chiefs defense has given up 14 points per game in its last 4. It's really one of the most underrated units of all time in the NFL. The Chiefs, remember, the Raiders are the last team to beat them. Kind of some of the players mocking Mahomes earlier in the season. They don't forget these things. They love that bulletin board material stuff. Take the Chiefs to cover the points here.
All right, now our game. Late afternoon, 49ers 4.5-point favorite, 45.5 is the over-under. Dallas comes to town. The boys are 3-3 off a bye. I don't know what we did the bye week. I know Jerry Jones did a lot of interviews, confusing the country. 49ers 3-4 off a loss to the undefeated Chiefs. This is not a great spot, Parlay Kid. We're not going to sneak up on the 49ers here. Nope. It's a sort of a must-win for both. But Darren, I have high hopes for the Cowboys to go out there. Now, this is a team that's embarrassed us, right? Beat us twice in the playoffs, last 2 times, in really embarrassing fashion towards the end of the game. I think we have to go out and score first. Cowboys touchdown is the first score of the game. I could see it. Dak to Lamb, first possession. The connection is back. This is not something we've done all year, mainly because we come up on 4th down and we have a guy who could boot 50-yard, 70-yard field goals while juggling avocados. It doesn't matter. Dak to Lamb, 7-0. Then Denver's defense probably grinds us out and we lose 26-21. But that's my bet. Plus 240, Cowboys first scoring play, touchdown.
Yeah, I don't like playing San Francisco here off a loss, Sal, especially a bad one against the Chiefs. San Francisco's banged up at wide receiver, Sal, so I'm going to be taking Mason anytime touchdown at minus. Listen, I'm paying a heavy price here, Sal, with this. What do we got here? Minus 185 for Mason in the touchdown. I personally think, Sal, this is a game where San Francisco decided that they were going to run the ball on every play against the Cowboys, could still beat the Cowboys in this game. I'm not kidding. We're going to see a heavy dose of Mason in this game, especially with McCaffrey. Some whispers of him coming back by week 10. This is the time to really use Mason at his fullest right now. Mason will score 1 here, Sal, at least, if not 2. paying a hefty price, but I think it's worth it here at minus
That's such a
185.
big number. Can you imagine? I know he's good. I know he gets the ball. I know he scores touchdowns, but they're only that's big. That makes me think we're just going to get shellacked, but whatever. All right. Monday night, Steelers home for the Giants, 6.5. These two teams and the Jets they play every Monday or Sunday night or Thursday. I don't get it. Pittsburgh 6.5. They're home 36.5 is the over/under against the Giants. It's bizarre. I'm going New York Football Giants over 15.5 points. Look, the Steelers have a knack of looking great and then turning it around, right? We saw Russell Wilson. They looked tremendous against Aaron Rodgers and the Jets. They beat him up on both sides of the ball. And Tomlin did the right thing with Wilson. And now I could see people going crazy. Wilson screws up. Wilson turns it over, puts the Giants in, giving them nice plus field position. I know it's a night game, disgusting with the Giants, but they are on the road. They seem to do a little better on the road. They average 23 points there. I think I need 16 points. It's fine. There's not a lot of data to support this pick. It's just my fat gut feeling here. Danny Dimes can't go out there and get sacked. I know it's not his fault that he got dumped 7 times last week, but I feel like they take advantage of Russ's miscues. Not to mention, I could have it both ways where they're getting beat up and they throw against the second string defense and score a garbage touchdown. I say Steelers win 24-19. What do you like?
So I'm taking the Giants plus 6.5 here, Sal. They played exceptionally well on the road so far this year with a 2-1 record. Their only loss was against the Commanders when they lost their kicker. Probably would have won that game too. Jones has been at his best on the road. Sal, the Giants defense has only given up 32 points in their 2 contests against AFC North opponents so far this year. Neighbors came off a little bit of a down game. I think he bounces back here against the Steelers. Take the Giants, getting those 6.5.
All right, Parlay Kid, I don't know if it's coincident or not, but Steelers fan, babyface Joel Solomon stood up right when you gave the Giants pick. I mean, I at least picked them to win your team 24
I'm going to leave, but I'm going to be respectful.
He's going to stick around. He's going to stick around for the outro here. Darren, great job as always. Hey, before you go, you want to give us a quick World Series prediction?
Yankees winning 7. Sal.
I'm
4
sorry,
games to 3.
your internet connection is cutting out. We gotta go. We'll be right back to wrap things up. Cousin Sal's winning weekend. All right, welcome back. Before we say goodbye, during the TV timeout, I drew up one more play in the betting playbook. It's a same game parlay, Bengals and Eagles. We're going to take Philly plus 7.5 adjusted, over 41.5 total points adjusted. Jamar Chase, 60 or more yards receiving. He's hit that in 4 of the last 5, And a Jalen Hurts anytime touchdown. That tush is getting pushed this week. It pays over 4-1 odds. Go to FanDuel Sportsbook. Get that in right now and tell them your pal Sal sent you. My thanks to Doc Gooden. I'm going to take you up on visiting your house next time I'm on Long Island. You can watch my full interview with Doc on the Ringers YouTube page. Thanks to the Parlay Kid for all those Week 8 winners. I'm going to visit him also next time on Long Island. Maybe me and Doc and the Parlay Kid could all go to Friendly's and share a Reese's Pieces sundae, huh? Hey, most importantly, thanks to all of you for watching and listening. And please always remember, you may feel like an underdog, but just know you're all my favorites. Happy handicapping.